Hi, welcome to Mental Survival, the channel where we talk about the psychological aspects of prepping and survivalism. My name is Cliff Hamrick. I'm a licensed professional counselor in Texas, and today I'm going to be telling you about the most important tool to have in your, we'll call it your mental survival bug-out bag. I know that sounds like one of those sort of clickbaity kind of titles, and just click here for the best thing ever or whatever, but I think in this case, this is really the most appropriate title for what we're going to be talking about today. What I want to tell you about today is mindfulness meditation. This is a practice that's been around for thousands of years. It's been practiced by people all over the world, and neuroscientists have loved to study this. They've been studying it for decades. I use it with my clients. I teach it to almost all my clients, pretty much regardless of what sort of issues they have. I work with a variety of clients with a variety of issues, and I find that with almost all of them, mindfulness meditation will help if they do it. As you know, with any other skill in survivalism, if you want to get good at it, you have to practice it, which means you have to do it to really get the skill and get the benefits of those skills. And so I think a lot of y'all will get a lot of benefit out of mindfulness meditation, because if you practice it like you practice a lot of other skills, then this will be a big help. So one of the things I want to talk about is meditation itself. Because when I talk about meditation, a lot of people get different views or attitudes on what it is and how it works. I believe there are two broad categories of meditation. There's focusing meditation and trance meditation. Trance meditation is sort of allowing your brain to just kind of go where it wants, to let your mind just wander here and there, and really without any sort of judgments or holding on to things. And there's a lot of benefits into that. If you've ever done like any sort of shamanic journeying or lucid dreaming or anything else like that, free association, so to speak, that's sort of trance work. That's kind of trying to bypass your logical conscious brain that tries to figure things out, and then just sort of let your subconscious brain just run and play for a while. I don't really teach that to most of my clients, because I find that, one, the brain just naturally does that anyway. If you've ever daydreamed, that's your brain doing that. If you've ever caught yourself knowing that you've been thinking for like, I don't know, 5 minutes or so, and you can't remember what you were thinking about, that's kind of the same sort of thing. One of the problems I've noticed a lot of my clients is that when they trance, when they do that sort of meditation, if you will, their mind tends to go to places that aren't really that helpful. That's one of the reasons why they're in my office, is they end up ruminating over things that, you know, made them mad, sometimes years or even decades in the past, or they're worrying about things that might happen in the future, fights that they might have with someone, or something bad that might happen. And so, for the most part, they don't need any help with trancing. They need help with the other form of meditation, which is focusing. Focusing meditation is any sort of meditation that tries to get your mind to focus on just one thing and hold on to that one thing. And that's what mindfulness meditation is all about. It is in a nutshell, it is focusing your mind on one thing, and when you notice that your mind begins to wander, you just point out, oh, I'm thinking, and then you go right back to whatever it was that you were trying to focus on. And that's really about it. I mean, there's a lot more to it, and I'll certainly walk you through that in the other video, but in a nutshell, that's what mindfulness meditation is. It is a lot like mental training. I also like to think of it as that way. Just like you would go to the gym to exercise your muscles, to get your muscles to do whatever it is that you want to do, mindfulness meditation is basically exercising your mind to get to do whatever you want to do. I also like to think of it as like dog training. Go with me on this. This is a little bit of a story, but you know, imagine that your mind is like a dog. And if you've ever been to someone's house where they have one of those dogs that's not really well behaved, it hasn't been socialized very well, those dogs can be horrible to be around. They jump up on people when they're not supposed to. They bark at things they're not supposed to. They get up on the furniture. They chew up people's shoes. They eat food they're not supposed to. They might like pee or poop in the corner or something. They can be really annoying to be around, but they can even get in the backyard, dig up holes and tear up things. They might even like escape from the backyard or run out the front door, get hit by a car, get lost. They might get a little aggressive and actually bite someone or something else like that. So a dog that hasn't been disciplined or trained in any way, it can be annoying at best and even a danger to itself or others at worst. And for most of us, that's how our mind is it's usually kind of annoying, just constantly making noise, constantly thinking about something, or it's trying to hurt somebody, usually ourselves. The worst bully anyone can ever have is usually right in their own head, with all the criticisms and that sort of thing. So by training our mind, we are like training a dog. If you train a dog not to jump up on people, and if you train a dog to stay off the furniture, and train a dog to stay in the backyard, not run out, if you train a dog how to relate to strangers, especially if the owner is there or something, then that dog can be a really good companion. If you take it to the next level and you even train this dog for hunting or to sniff out drugs or to find missing people or anything else like that, then this is actually a real asset to have around. But it requires training, because dogs don't naturally just do these things. We have to show them how. We have to let them know that's what we want to do. And in many ways, that's what mindfulness meditation is. The Dalai Lama explained it this way. When I first got into meditation, which was long before I thought about becoming a counselor, I used to read a lot of books on meditation just to try and learn more about it, how to get good at it, mainly just to help me. At the time, I had never even thought I could be a counselor. And the Dalai Lama explained it this way. He said that your mind is like a wild bull. It is big, it is strong, it is powerful, and it is angry, and it will charge and trample and destroy everything around it. To the Buddhist, your mind is not your friend, your mind is not your pal, your mind is actually something dangerous that needs to be monitored. And he said that this bull is so big and so strong and so powerful, we can't just grab it and pull it to the ground and make it stop doing whatever it was doing. It will just kick us off and just keep on going right back to whatever destruction it was causing. And this is the reason why we can't just calm down. You know, we say these things to each other and to ourselves. It's like, just calm down, get over it, cheer up, stop being such a downer. You know, look on the bright side. You know, if we could just snap our fingers and just do that, we wouldn't need therapists or Buddhist monks for that matter. So our mind just doesn't just respond to us like that, just like a dog just doesn't know that it's supposed to go find a missing person. So what the Dalai Lama said is that what we're going to do is we're going to build a big corral around the bull. And every day we're going to make the corral just a little bit smaller, so that way the bull can't charge quite as far, can't do quite as much damage. It'll hit the corral and it'll bounce off. And eventually the corral will get so small that all the bull can do is stand in one spot and not move. We've effectively tamed and controlled the bull without ever touching it. And according to Dalai Lama, that corral, that's mindfulness meditation. That's what we're going to do. So sometimes when I find myself my mind is sort of taking off, I'll just sort of, tell myself I got to corral the bull a little bit. Because your mind will run off and do whatever it wants to do, just like a dog if you just leave it alone. One of the things that mindfulness meditation does, one of the big benefits that does, is that it makes you aware of your own thoughts, which is kind of weird because most of us just assume that we're aware of our own thoughts. But really most of us are just kind of constantly just have this background noise. In the Buddhism and the Zen tradition, they'll call it the monkey mind. It's like a monkey sitting in a tree, and all it does is just sit there and just chatter away and make noise, and it's not really doing anything. It's not really even pleasant. It's certainly not contributing anything. It's just sitting in a tree making noise. And for a lot of us, that's what our mind is doing all the time, just monkey mind. We tend to run on autopilot, We don't really know what we're thinking about. We don't really know what we're doing. We are what we call reacting rather than responding. Something happens and we react to it. It's just this click, boom, boom. We just do that. Through mindfulness meditation, we make our mind more disciplined so we can respond. So we're more aware of what we're thinking. We're more aware of what we're feeling. And when something comes up, then we can choose how we want to respond, as opposed to just sort of running on this autopilot sort of thing. Like I said earlier, neuroscientists love to study mindfulness meditation. And they did one study where they took a bunch of newbies, and I'm going to assume most of you watching this video are probably newbies, people who've never meditated before, didn't really know anything about it, and they taught them basically the same kind of meditation that I'll show you how to do in the other video. And there'll be a link in the description, by the way. I keep referring to this video. And what they did is they taught them the same kind of meditation, and they told them to do it 20 minutes a day, every day, and then to come in once a week for a CAT scan. So they were really just fishing, just to see what happens to a newbie's brain when they start meditating. And they noticed that about the third week, they could see actual physical changes in the brain. The bridge between the left and the right hemispheres, what we call the corpus callosum, was getting thicker, which means that the left and right hemispheres could talk to each other more. They also noticed more connections from what we call the prefrontal cortex over the amygdala. The prefrontal cortex is a part of our brain that is uniquely human. One of the things that it does, and we'll be talking a lot more about this stuff in future videos, but one of the things that it does is it second guesses our emotions. So when we have an emotional response to something, all it does is just sort of act like a devil's advocate and just ask the question of like, well, should I be feeling this right now? Is this what I really need to be feeling? The amygdala is the part of our brain that actually produces those emotions. So after about the third week, they could see more connections coming from the part of the brain that would control our emotions over the part of our brain that was actually generating those emotions. I think the two hemispheres of the brain talking to each other probably leads to more creativity, whether it's painting, which some of my more creative clients will say that they start getting more artistic after meditating a few weeks. But I think it's also just good for problem solving, which for those of us who like to study survivalism and preppers, we know that problem solving is a big part, and probably that's actually the core of what we do, is how to solve the problem of being in a survival situation. And so being able to think more creatively is certainly something you want to do, because if there is an answer out in front of you, you need to be able to make sure that you recognize that that's the answer, even if you have to put two and two together to actually get the answer, whatever that is. So just to kind of walk you through how to use mindfulness meditation. So when you start going to the other video and start using it and start practicing it, first you want to do it every day. Do it as much as you possibly can, but daily is what you should be doing as your goal. You want to do it for at least 10 minutes. The video I produced will probably be about 10 minutes long, so it's like the bare minimum. What we call the therapeutic dosage is 20 minutes. Feel free to work your way up to that. 20 minutes is actually really long. Once you start getting into it, you'll realize that this is a pretty difficult exercise, even though we're only talking about 10 to 20 minutes. But that's the nice thing, is meditating for 10 to 20 minutes is really short. You can easily do this over your lunch break. You don't have to have any specialized equipment. You don't have to be anywhere special. You don't need a special mantra. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to have candles or anything else like that. You can really just sit in your car and meditate for 20 minutes if it's not too hot. I don't think it really matters what time of day. A lot of people like to meditate in the morning, and I like that idea because it sort of helps set your mind up for the rest of the day. My problem is I'm not a morning person, so if I tried to meditate in the morning, I'd probably just fall back asleep again. I tend to meditate more like in the mid-afternoon, after lunch. But again, it doesn't matter. I had a job in the past. It was one of those horrible jobs where it was just a struggle to get through the day because I didn't like what I was doing. I didn't like who I was working with. It was just stressful. It was just a nasty job. And so I would go meditate during the middle of the day. I would just go in the men's room, and little earbuds, and I'd put my phone, put a little timer on my phone. I'd sit on one of the toilets and sit and meditate. And as far as everybody else was concerned, I was just going to the bathroom. But for me, that was how I got through the day, is by basically trying to reset my mind throughout the day. I had another client who he had also a really bad job, very stressful job, very aggravating job, and he was seeing me because he was taking that home with him. He was unhappy at work, and so he would take it home with him, and then he'd serve, take it out on the family. He's just grumpy. He wasn't really, abusive or anything, but he was just sort of grumpy and mean and didn't want to be around anybody and that sort of thing. And so what we did was, his homework was, as soon as he got home, either to meditate in his car or just kind of go straight into the house, into the bedroom, and meditate for 20 minutes, and then come out and engage with the family. And what it was is, in that case, the meditation was a way to create a buffer that, that was work, and it was crappy, unfortunately, and this is home life, and that's something else. Because he didn't have any problems at home. It's just, he was the problem at home, I guess you could argue. So whenever you want to do it, doesn't really matter. I would hesitate about, you can meditate at night if you want to sleep. People who have trouble falling asleep, I tell them to lay in bed and do the meditation and just do it until you fall asleep. Don't turn on a timer or anything else. We're just going to lay in bed, focus on your breathing, and when your mind begins to wander, you just go back and focus on your breathing again. For a lot of those clients that lay in bed and just worry and think and obsess about stuff, that can be really good, because that's when your mind is becoming a real problem. You don't want to make that the only time that you're meditating, though, because after a while your brain starts to learn that, meditation is sleepy time, and so you're not really doing the good training part. So in those cases, I would say meditate at some point during the day, sort of like how you should, so to speak, and then use it at night as needed. Theoretically, if you're meditating more, you're disciplining your brain, you're disciplining your mind, and you're improving your brain, and you'll start sleeping better anyway, and so you won't have to do it at that time of day. And then, just what I call meditation PRN is whenever you notice that your mind is racing, whenever you notice your mind is going into places you don't want to go, catch yourself. When you catch yourself, just say, I'm just thinking. And then just for like 3 breaths, just focus on your breath. That's just enough to kind of interrupt the flow of thoughts. That's just enough to kind of stop your brain from running down that rabbit hole too far. My big sin is when I'm in the car, when I'm driving a long distance, especially on the freeway, where I don't really have to keep track of cross traffic or stoplights or anything else like that. I can kind of run on automatic pilot, which is not really safe to drive. But after a while, my mind starts to wander to places, and unfortunately, like a lot of folks, it wanders to, angry places and sad places and places I've never actually been and probably never will actually go to, but my mind will just invent things to be angry and upset about anyway. So when I catch myself, I'll just focus on my breath for a few breaths, and then just keep on driving. And my mind goes right back to where I started from. Then I just focus on my breathing again. And a friend of mine has a little dog that the dog likes to sit up on the couch with us while we're eating, because we'll sit on the couch and watch TV or something else like that. And every time the dog jumps up on the couch, we have to tell her to get down. And then we keep telling her, get down, get off the couch, get off the couch, get off the couch, get off the couch, over and over and over again. And the dog jumps off, and then she'll jump back up again. She'll jump off and back up. And she just does this over again. Eventually she gets it. I don't know if she just gets tired of jumping up and down the couch, but eventually she gets it, and she just stays off the couch. And I think sometimes our mind is like that too. Again, using that dog analogy, is you just have to keep pushing and teach your mind, teach your brain that you're in charge, and that you're going to think about what you want to think about. And if your mind keeps wanting to go to this dark place and you don't really want it to, then that's not going to happen. I guess in a way it's like training a toddler too. So anyway, that is mindfulness meditation in a nutshell. Like I said, I don't have the other video which will actually walk you through the process of mindfulness meditation, but I want to make this video so we kind of know why you should be doing this, why this is really important. This will, like I said, this is the sort of thing you want to do before you're in difficult situations, because this sets you up for success. This helps you gain more emotional control, so you're less likely to panic, you're less likely to get angry, you're less likely to give in to despair. And these are usually the things that get people into trouble. If you read a lot of the survival stories and people who've gotten lost and that sort of thing, the people who make it are the ones who can at least at some level think their way through the problem. Those who become overly emotional usually don't survive, because they either make some dumb mistake, and we'll talk about why that happens in my next video actually. So they either make some dumb mistake that gets them killed, or they just give in to despair and they just sit down and give up. And we've heard stories about people with plenty of supplies in their backpack, and they sit in a tree and just die because they've given up. So through mindfulness meditation, you control those parts of your brain that tell you that you're stupid, that you shouldn't be in this situation, that you're dumb, everybody's going to laugh at you, or that you should just give up and there's no point anymore. So through this process, you set yourself up for success in the future. And again, even if you never find yourself in a survival situation, mindfulness meditation will always help you in every other situation. Because sometimes your survival situation is dealing with an angry boss, or making a big presentation, or dealing with an illness, or dealing with the loss of a job, or something else. Sometimes your survival situation is fairly mundane, but mindfulness meditation will still help you with that. So anyway, I will post the link to the other video down below, and I will see you later. Thanks.